Hey guys, Dantix here. I had a chance to play and finish Indiana Jones and the Great Circle early, thanks to Bethesda, and absolutely loved it. However, there's a lot of hidden information that's not obvious at the start. This video will run through everything you need to know so you don't miss anything important. Soon you'll be grave robbing, finding valuable historical artifacts like a pro.
You're a real lifesaver, pal.
First, Indiana is an archaeologist, not a soldier, so you'll be utilizing your sneak more often than not. Picking up melee weapons lets you stealth knock out most targets, and these weapons deal more damage in brawls than your fists. The problem is, they'll easily break. You can upgrade how long it takes to break them, but you really shouldn't be relying on improvised weapons to stick around. Instead, be on the lookout for shovels and other common objects you can pick up next to an enemy, so once you knock them out, you can quickly rearm. Each explorable area has outfits for you to equip in order to blend in and access areas you couldn't before, without causing trouble, that is. Each outfit, including Indiana's iconic getup, has its own permanently accessible weapon. With Indiana's outfit, it's the pistol. With the worker's outfit, you'll have a handy shovel. Having access to a weapon means that even when you can't find an improvised weapon, you'll have something to help you stealth take down enemies or do extra damage. These can and will break, however, so be ready to run off, hide, and use a repair kit in order to use them again. Using a pistol as a melee weapon is extremely useful as a backup for when you're unarmed or when your weapon just broke, but it will break as well, so keep that in mind and keep a repair kit handy. Why don't you just shoot, you might be asking? Well, because it will alert everyone. Crawling, climbing, swinging, and other activities that require you to use your hands make you drop the weapon you're carrying, unless it's your outfit's special weapon. Keep in mind that if you can see your destination, like up on a cliff, you can simply throw your weapon or even torch there in order to continue on with it. Hey, give it back. So feel free to throw weapons to distract enemies and sneak the other way, or simply make noise, sneak around the back, and give your Nazi friends a surprise from behind. Speaking of sneaking, it's best done to avoid fights because you have limited resources. If you can't help but alert the whole area, you shot your pistol, didn't you? Crawling through a tight space or entering a closed off area will stop them chasing you. They'll eventually give up and you can try your hand at sneaking through once again. Sometimes it's simply better to push enemies off cliffs because you may not have a weapon on hand for a sneak takedown, or most importantly, because it's fun. So don't forget your push button.
Let's see what this does.
It's dangerous to just rush through a game like this. Be sure to look around first before pulling levers and attempting puzzles.
You're a real lifesaver, pal.
Not doing so can be a deadly mistake.
Professor, no! Ah!
The same goes with rushing through or out of the front door. You could be walking into something you won't be walking out of. Take a look around for a sneakier path to your destination. Who knows, you could also find an artifact for your troubles. Collecting artifacts is fun, but what you don't want are weird graphical artifacts as you play. This is where Nvidia and PNY can help. This level of detail is achieved with my new Nvidia PNY GeForce RTX 4090. PNY have a history of providing quiet, compact, and frankly unique cards with powerful features, like their new Velocity X overclocking software, which unlocks your true gaming potential. With the software, this handy real-time monitoring tool, and fan control, you'll always be getting peak performance out of your hardware. Plus, if you have the flagship Nvidia features like true ray tracing and DLSS frame generation, which I personally can't live without, you'll be getting the highest resolutions, the best lighting, and the most frames. So thank you PNY for sponsoring this video and making my experience buttery smooth. What's not buttery smooth though is the crack of your whip, which disarms targets and more based on your upgrades. Don't forget to aim for the legs and yank to trip up regular sized enemies. It can even instant kill with an upgrade. Your whip also lets you pull targets towards you so you can grapple and beat them senseless. Just keep in mind your whip doesn't work when you're face to face with an enemy because you can't crack a whip without some space. So put some distance between you and your enemy before you try.
You rest for a while now.
You also have a pistol in your Indiana outfit, like mentioned before, but you have extremely limited bullets. Here are some early ammo locations. However, more than most games, headshots here deal more damage, a lot more than body shots. Headshots are essential to not only save ammo, but to take out enemies exponentially faster. Take your time to line them up. You can kill targets with 1 or 2 headshots, 2 when the enemy has a helmet to knock off, and 1 when it doesn't. You'll waste many more on body shots even against basic enemies. If an enemy gun drops, you can use them until the ammo runs out, but you can also wield them like a powerful club in melee. It's never a bad idea picking these up, as a shotgun is a one-hit kill against most enemies and can make a nice club when ammo is dry. Keep in mind, enemies can pick up weapons off the ground too. The game really opens up when you hit the first explorable area, the Vatican. The overwhelming urge to venture in every rat hole and climb every wall will be strong all the way through the game, but there are particular approaches to consider for maximum enjoyment. In this particular game, more than many others. If you don't explore for goodies at all, you'll need to revisit areas, but if you explore too much, you'll be chasing your tail trying to get to areas or treasures that are locked off to you. Something that wasted a lot of my time, this damn demon door. So instead, look around the immediate areas you travel during the Golden Path as you'll be rewarded, but don't overdo it yet. Continue down the main storyline until the game warns you to tie loose ends up before moving on.
Should tie up any loose ends in the Vatican before I head to the Fountain Confession.
Yes, the game warns you. At this point, I recommend doing the side content. After that's done, you can start looking for artifacts, clues, medicine, and more in a thorough manner. These will all give rewards in the way of new books to gain passives, points to buy said passives, and cold hard cash. You can find hidden treasures by using either your guile or pamphlets you can buy from stores or find in the world, unless of course you rather not be a completionist, in which case you can skip finding every single treasure of each area to simply enjoy the great pacing of the story. This is what I personally recommend. Searching for every single treasure does slow the game down, and it might not be the pace some people enjoy. You can always come back to areas to look for things after the credits roll. And this is advised because some secrets are locked until then. Here's an area that's not accessible without the breathing apparatus, but it's only able to be purchased after you leave the area and you can't return until the end of the game. Don't let me stop you from enjoying the game your way, but you can also visit stores like the one you first obtained the camera at in order to buy helpful guide pamphlets, like I mentioned before, which will help you find collectibles you haven't found yet. Obtaining one lets you select and track a newly acquired mission in your journal that places icons over your map. There's a pharmacy in each explorable area to trade in the medicine you find in the world for books that, when invested into, boost your health or stamina. Don't save up for the third rank of these books first, as each rank gives the same amount of health or stamina. Simply grab the cheapest books first. Medicine left over that you don't trade in stays with you, and you can sell it at the next pharmacy you come across in the next area. Worst case is you can continue your search after the credits roll. There are 15 vials of medicine in the first explorable area, the Vatican, and every other explorable area after that. You might start scrambling around trying to find them all blindly, but there is an easier way. Just wait until the side mission where you break into the museum area of the map past the Black Coat's base. There is this tent, and within is a chest puzzle. It's a simple solution if you read the notes, but I'll flash the code on the screen if you're lazy. Close your eyes now. Okay, open them. There's a pamphlet that gives you a journal entry to help track the medicine locations in the Vatican, saving you a lot of time pointlessly hunting. There's one for every explorable area, but I'll leave you to find their locations yourself. You'll be hoofing it on foot around large areas to get from destination to destination. You can't fast travel via your map, but you can find signposts in the world that will take you to major landmarks. Look out for the distinct glint, then hold down a button on the location you wish to travel to. The location names in the Vatican will be in Italian, so highlighting over the signs will translate. Opening your map to see where you want to go will help because the game doesn't hold your hand and direct you to which you should travel. The only time you can travel from your journal is after you finish the game, and that's just from major location to major location. Your camera can also be used to provide useful hints on missions with particular difficult puzzles. Point your camera at a puzzle target and snap a picture. You can keep doing this and get progressively more juicy hints to help you progress, eventually completely spelling it out for you. You won't be able to do this for every puzzle, but it's nice to have the option, as I'm sure many of you would have simply referred to Google instead when stuck. In most cases though, Indiana or friends will provide useful hints if you listen close enough. I'd say give the puzzles a good try before attempting to make it easier. You'll need to read notes you find in order to solve mysteries. This will start off very easy, but become more challenging as you progress. You can access the notes you just picked up in the mystery section of your journal if you need to reference back, something I didn't realize until later. Useful because I know a lot of your eyes will start glazing over text. As is the norm in games these days, areas you can climb are highlighted, but in Indiana Jones, it's usually with the color white. White paint on ladders, white stones, and even white vines. So it's not immediately obvious as it is with yellow paint in games such as Stalker 2, but visual clues are helpful, so keep an eye out for them. You might even find yourself a juicy hidden artifact. Early on, it's very dangerous to take on large swarms of enemies. After a little bit of improving Indiana's combat effectiveness, however, and utilizing choke points, you won't be scared of any melee enemy. This means all the black coats in the Vatican will eventually be a joke. After playing a little bit, I could walk right into their camp without any worry that they could take me out. Indiana the Body Piler Jones right here. Get used to parrying or bind it to an extra mouse button if you have one. Parrying along with tactically retreating will make you very hard to kill. If you find yourself not able to or not wanting to fight, just run. Enemies will chase, but there are many enemies these swarms won't follow, like mentioned before. Clean up the stragglers and eventually the whole area will act like you were never there, slaughtering everyone. Later on in the game, there'll be more gun-wielding enemies, and it's virtually suicide to alert them all to you, as bullets will take you down very quickly. However, with the Lucky Hat book you get early on, you won't die. Instead, you'll be dropped prone. Enemies will disengage you, then you can grab your hat and get back up. In most cases, being able to sneak away before the enemies realize.
Why'd you have to do that?
You might find it impossible to sneak away from enemies, instead get some cover and choke down some carbs. It will give you some bonus health, but most importantly, is much quicker than bandaging yourself up. So eat bread in the heart of battle and bandage once it's over. Also, scoff down everything you can in order to max out your health and your stamina before heading out on your adventures. You'll find plenty of food out in the world. You may have noticed that some walls can be destroyed because you have eyes, and games have been doing destructible walls since Mario 64. Actually, before Mario 64, but it's just another explorable game with collectibles. In the Great Circle, it's fairly obvious they can be destroyed as they look like your typical destructible video game wall. But they can be knocked down with more than a sledgehammer. Any two-handed weapon can do it, so if you see one around, pick it up just in case. You might have a decent weapon for a fight coming up, will have to throw it to your destination, or worst case, you'll have to drop it. Either way, no harm having it with you. There's lots of things hidden around the world, but there are boxes with loot inside as well. You can also break some lock boxes with a melee weapon strike, or if you can't find one around, change into your Indiana outfit, pull out your pistol and shoot it open for a nice bit of cash. You'll find yourself pulling up your map very often, especially to get to locations required to progress, and also finding artifacts and goodies once you've learned their location. Thankfully, you can keep it out as you move, and if you do, you'll get a guide to your currently selected mission. It will provide you a yellow, or is that orange, dot to follow, which are the quickest points to your location. A welcome guide for when you need a little extra help or direction. If you're in disguise and the guard is looking ahead and won't let you steal appropriate something without alerting everyone, take him out first. It turns out that leaving bodies around in the open world is fine. They'll be found, but guards have no idea who did it unless you are close. You can get away scot-free.
I couldn't believe it.
During more closed off areas or missions, finding a body will alert all your enemies, but in the open world, feel free to massacre liberally. And that's everything. What do you think? More prepared? Did I miss anything? Let me know below. Thank you so much for watching, and for everything Indiana, you're in the right place. Ciao, friends.